Satnam Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. And if you could let me know if you can hear me okay. Let me get my comments up here. Great. Okay. So let me know if you can hear me clearly and everything's fine for us to go. And I will get my computer up here. My other computer. Okay. Okay, let me see here. Just bear with me for a second. Okay, sound is good. Okay, great. Okay, just a second till I get my other screen up so I can see what you guys are seeing. And I hope everybody's doing well. And we're going to be in winter solstice tomorrow. So that's exciting. And I posted this today is, have you been sleeping a lot? I've been sleeping a lot, like 9-10 hour days, which is unusual for me. But it fits with this energy, right? This energy is really for rest, for resting. Okay. Okay, so everybody's on here. That's great. So be sure to put down your human design type and profile if you know it, and your astrological information too if you have it. Yeah. Yeah, I've been sleeping great. Great. That's great. Okay, I can see everybody here, and I'm going to mute that. Awesome. Okay. So we're talking about the new moon, and the new moon's not till the 30th, but it's worth exploring here. Okay, so remember that if you're new to the channel, if you don't really know what human design is all about, it's like astrology on steroids, human design. So you want to get your free chart, so you can always go into my information box and you'll find it there. It just says get your free chart, so you can go there and follow along. Now I'm doing a transit report, so which is different than your natal chart, but you'll learn about your natal chart as you if you subscribe and follow my weekly webinars. And just a reminder, the 2025 Year Ahead webinar series starts tomorrow on solstice, and it's a 2-day event. So you want to know what's going to go on in 2025. So the first thing I want to talk about, so the new moon, you can see it here is in the 38.1, and the 38 comes off the root chakra at the bottom here. But the thing that I want to talk about that came up for me this week a few times with people that I was doing readings for is a reminder, just to put things into context here, is in times of great transition on the planet, which means like a shift of the ages where the frequency changes on the planet, where we evolve as a species, there's something called the gray period, right? And the gray period is a time where people do not know, because we're going through so much change on the energetic level, that people are not aware that they're depressed. It's called, they don't know, they're not aware of that they're depressed. And this has to do with the ego, right? This has to do with the ego. So the ego basically is under a lot of pressure right now. It's under a lot of pressure. This is the not self, right? Your ego is your not self. If you're familiar with human design, I don't use this center here. I don't call it I don't call this the ego. I call this the willpower center, because I'm a yogi and a meditator, and I associate the mind in the ego. The ego is an aspect of our mind. Okay, just so that we don't, I'm not confusing people. right? So this has to do with the ego, this gray period. So the ego is under a lot of pressure right now to surrender to the soul. This is the great awakening, right? So the ego is under extreme pressure. And so what happens is under this pressure, because all the old ways aren't working anymore, the way that the ego gained its power in the past no longer works, right? No longer works. So you can imagine yourself, like the vision I have right now is like when you're 2 years old and you start to realize you have some kind of power in the external world, you know, with flicking the lights on and off and things like that. You watch children, and that's when the ego is coming forward in a sense, and it's like realizing that it has power. So it starts there. So all the ways that we gain power outside of ourselves, it's not going to work anymore. It's not going to work anymore. So it's under the pressure, but the pressure is really to surrender to the soul. And so the ego lashes out. So if you're on my newsletter, I just wrote a little thing about this, right? So it lashes out, right? The ego will lash out. And it's very destructive, right? It's a destructive energy. It wants to destroy. The ego wants to destroy. So this is what we're seeing on the planet. And so men, generally speaking, are more identified with their egos than women. And so this is why we're seeing the war amping up on the planet. So don't give this too much credence, because we're going to be moving into the Pisces Virgo karmic axis in January. So we're going to be out of Libra Aries, and Libra Aries is war, right? Is war. So we've been experiencing this conflict. So this ties into this new moon. So bear with me here. So this is this destruction, right? It's this destruction, the lashing out. So it can be expressed in this way, like this, like, I don't care. I just want to destroy. I'm just like, the things that I say, I'm not very thoughtful. And you can see it out in the world, right? And maybe in your relationships too, this ego lashing out. And then the other side of the lashing out of the ego is the inverse, which is depression, right? Is a depression. So this is anger turned inward. And this is life is meaningless. Life has no purpose, right? I'm just depressed. I lost my mojo. I used to be so passionate about these things. And, you know, it's just like I'm just living day to day to day to day. Like just living and existing is taking all of my energy. Well, this is what's going on. We're in this gray period. And it's not going to last forever. So most people, they don't realize that they're depressed, but they are. And what's depression, right? It's like this. It's like you're not letting the energy of your soul come forward. Not you, the soul, but the ego. The ego doesn't want it to come forward. So what we get into is like a death drive. I call it a death drive. So the lower death drive, because there's the lower and the higher death drive, right? This destruction energy, this is how you can use it. So the lower death drive, which means it's unconscious. It's unconscious. It means that you're identified with your ego. This is self-sabotage, self-sabotaging yourself, depression, numbness, which is also a feeling. This is part of the gray period. And it's called cold depression. It's called cold depression. Right? And the ancients talked about this, that we would be going through this as a humanity. So there's this hopelessness. There can be anger, exhaustion, overwhelm, a sense of powerlessness, isolation, right? Indulging into addictions, distractions, just not wanting to be on the planet, right? So this is the lower death drive, right? And this is the ego. It's just like to do anything, right? It's trying to get power. That's why, you know, you look at energy. Energy is such a big topic in the world right now, like energy drinks and things like that, because it's this. The ego's not getting its power from the external world like it used to, right? So to use this energy this is the higher death drive, and this is an ego death, like going through an ego death. This is what's called Jivan Mukti, right? Liberate it while still alive. So you're liberated from your ego and your mind, and you're still alive. And this is when you you surrender the ego to the soul. So you're like, well, how do I do that? How do I do that? There's lots of technology for that, but just doing your inner work, like your inner shadow work, your inner child work, this is a method of surrendering the ego to the soul. And it's a gradual process, right? So that's your magic word right now, is surrender. I'm just going to surrender to what is, right? So we're going to go through like the discerning about this, because this relates to the 38th gate, which the new moon's activating. So this is awakening. So higher death drive is awakening to the truth of who you are, right? Your soul. You're a timeless soul that was never born, never died. You come down here on planet Earth to have human experiences. This is the truth of who you really are, right? So letting go of all ego attachments, who you believe yourself to be, who you've been told you are, right? And what you're capable of, and then walking your unique path. And then this is how you walk into the sleep of how you walk into the cross of the sleeping phoenix that we're entering in 2027, right? So this is your work, right? As a phoenix, you have to remember that you're a phoenix and you're being born, right? You're being born which is so funny. It's like you're not being born, you're being born to who you really are, right? It's not like it's it's not like a new entity. It's just who you are, right? So that's the gray period to be aware of, okay? So just keep that in mind, especially when you're seeing people in this state, right? You're not going to be able to save people from this. You can educate them and give them the information, but basically they have to do this work, right? They have to go into a deep surrender. So the best thing that you can do, especially if you're a 6 line, and we're all following the 6 line process, is just to be that role model, right? Of what it means to be like in G1 Mukti. What does it mean to walk the path as yourself, right? Okay, and then the other thing is there's a meditation. There's always a meditation, eh? So this is a powerful Kundalini Yoga meditation for cold depression. So if you're feeling this, if you're like really resonating to what I've just talked about, and that's normal. It's not wrong that you feel that. It's completely normal that you feel this at this time. There's a meditation for cold depression, and I put it in the information box, and it's all free. You just click on it, and it'll take you to my website, and you can practice it there. It has tuning in. It's a Kundalini Yoga meditation. It's specific for this gray period, and why I put it on my website, not my YouTube, is because YouTube, whenever I use music, they put in these annoying advertising. And you notice that I don't monetize my videos, and it's for that reason, so I can play music on my website, but not on YouTube. Okay. So, let me just see any comments before, because I love reading the comments. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you did your progressed lunar return, right? That's funny. Okay, that's astrology. Okay, so let's go back here and let's talk about this 38. So this is the gate of the fighter. There's the 38 here. And what's interesting, did I put the 2024? Because every year has a new year's chart. So the new year's chart, so this is the mandala for human design. So every planet is moving through all these numbers to go around the mandala, it's called, right? So you can see the zodiac sign, and then there's about 6, right, hexagrams, gates within each zodiac sign. So the new year doesn't really happen until the sun moves into the 41st gate, right? The 41st gate. So that's usually January 21st, 22nd. depending on where you live in the world, right? So Christmas time or New Year's time, the sun is still in the 60th gate. And what's the 60th gate? That's down here. That's the gate of limitation, right? So it's like this. The energy is not for about beginning the new. The 41st hexagram, the 41st gate. This is the start codon. It's the beginning of a whole new cycle. So whenever the sun comes in the 41st, that's the real New Year. So does it mean that you don't celebrate? Right? Totally. The Gregorian the calendar, yeah, celebrate the new. But don't be thinking that anything's going to happen with you starting things in the 60th gate. It's like it will end up being, your New Year's resolution will end up being a to-do list for the week, right? That's why so many people fail in their New Year's resolutions. You want to wait till the 41st, right? And then the energy is there for you. So if you do the 2024 chart, this is last year, right? Last year. So this was the exact time. So you can see that the sun is in the 41.1, right? Down here. Well, if we look at, because this gives you a lot of information about what the theme of each year is, and look where Mercury is. Mercury's in the 38, and Mars is in the 38, down here. So you can also note that it's 38.1. That's basically conjunct. But in human design, it gets even more specific, and it's in the first line in Mercury, and then in Mars, it's in the fifth line. So this correlates to certain themes of each year, right? So Mercury in here. So this should not be what I'm going to talk about shouldn't be a huge, right? So let me know, epiphany for you. It's like, oh, we've been in this energy through Mars and Mercury all year round, that flavor. So if you've got the 38, and remember, whenever we look at a gate, the 38 here, well, we have to look at the 39 across from it. And why do we have to do that? Because in the mandala, these are directly across from one another. See? Cancer, 39, and 38. So these are what's called programming partners. Now, they don't necessarily have to be directly across from one another, right? One can be up here and down here into another center, right? So the 38, 39. So these two go together. And this is the spiritual warrior. These are the warrior gates, right? It's the 38 and the 39. This is your sacred warrior. So it's the gate of the fighter, right? So the 39 is the gate of provocation, but the 38 is the gate of the fighter. So that's what it's hitting right there, the 38. And there it is in the sun and moon. That makes it a new moon. And then it's being grounded in the earth, right? So that's the programming partner. This is the 39. So the 38. So let's look at that here. So right away, you look at the center, and that's the root chakra. So that means there's a pressure, automatic. There's a pressure up here from the head center, and there's a pressure here from the root. So this is a pressure to fight, right? The pressure to fight. So the other thing that I want to talk about is there's a sutra for the Aquarian age. There's 5 sutras for the Aquarian age. So these are like 5 rules or laws for the Aquarian age. How do we get through? This is according to the tradition of Kundalini Yoga and meditation. Well, one of them is called there's a way through every block. There's a way through every block. So this directly correlates to this 38 and 39th gate, right? Because the 39 is the gate of provocation, and the 38, and this is about moving through blocks. It's about moving through blocks, the 38, 39. But you've got to realize, right? There's a way through every block. Well, you have to discern, is that a block in my life, or is it a guardrail in my life? Which means, is this something that's going to test and strengthen my commitment and my character, right? And my testing me to surrender, right? That would be a block, and there's a way through every block, 100%. Now, if it's a guardrail, that's a different story. The guardrail is like you're holding on to things that are no longer serving you, right? That's when you don't persevere. Or like say a relationship is like the expiry date is on this relationship. It's just like you're going down different paths now. And like, oh, I've got to persevere. I've got to make this happen, right? It's like that's a guardrail when things aren't working. They're not working out. So how do you discern? Well, the great thing about this 38, and I know the new moon's not until the 30th, but you can work with this energy now so you're prepared as it comes in, right? It's the 38.1, right? It's the 38.1. So this is called qualification. So it's the gate of the fighter, the 38, and then each number has a keynote. It's called a keynote. And so this one's called qualification. So what does that mean? It means that you choose your battle. You choose your battle. So is this my battle to persevere or to admit defeat, right? So the one that wants to persevere when it's not your battle to fight, that's the ego. So it will show you where you have an ego attachment. You have an ego attachment. So I'm going to go into the astrology and then kind of give you a place to focus on where you're holding on, maybe where you've got a guardrail and you won't let go, or you're in a block and you need to persevere and you need to double down, right? But the great thing about the 38.1 and choosing your battles is this 38 gives you access to the other side of the veil, to the other side of the veil. So this means you have access to your angels, your guides, maybe ancestors, where you'll know if this is something that you need to persevere with or you need to let go of, right? So that's where you get your information, is in the spirit realm, not your ego, not your ego. Right? So maybe you had this dream of like, I wanted to rise to the tippy top and be the CEO of this big organization. And then suddenly everything's just falling apart, right? Everything's falling apart in my life. But you have an ego attachment to it. I've got to be a somebody, right? I have to be a somebody. I have to be important. It's giving me my self-esteem, my self-value, my sense of identity. Right? And there's the ego holding on to it. I need to hold on to it. It's afraid to surrender, right? Because this is your false self, right? This is the not self. And maybe you were in this identity for a while and now it's not serving you any longer, right? So you're letting this go. So listening to the ego, and this is a big question that I hear from people a lot. It's like, how do I know if it's my intuition? Because that's what you want to be listening to right now. I mean, you've got your strategy and the authority, but not everybody's familiar with that and how that works. And it can get confusing when you allow the mind to get in. I'm telling you the real shortcut here, right? Is to listen to your intuition, and everybody's got intuition. So your intuition will let you know. So some people are like, well, how do I know if it's my mind and how do I know if it's my intuition? Well, you ask the question. Just ask the question, right? Is this a block or is it a guardrail? Whatever it is this a block where I need to persevere, or is it a guardrail and I'm being protected and I have to let it go? And you ask the question, right? Like a yes or no question. And whatever pops into your head, like immediately, that's your intuition. If you feel like your mind is like, in this kind of duality state, like this right here, in this state, like the Two of Pentacles, the back and forth in the duality, right? That's not your intuition. Your intuition is so quick. It's before you're even thinking. The yes or no answer will come. This is what you want to start to trust, right? Okay, so there's and to know that if your intuition is saying, yeah, it's a block and I have to persevere, then you need to trust. There's a way through every block, and you'll be guided. You'll be guided how to move through this block because it's strengthening you, right? It's strengthening your character, strengthening your commitment, right? And we live for this. If you have the 38 and the 39 natally, I have this. I have the 38 and the 39. You live for this because it makes you stronger when you move through it. When you move through it. And the 38 and 39s, they thrive on this, right? This kind of challenge. It's a challenge. It makes you feel alive when you're not in this cold depression energy. Like you're challenged, right? And it strengthens your character. So this is a fight. So one of the things that we need to remember with the times that we're in right now, this is our greatest enemy, is fear. That's our greatest enemy right now, is fear. Right? So you've got the false fear, and then you've got the real fear. So the real fear is like there's a truck coming and I got to get off the road. It's going to run me over. Right? That would be like a real fear. My life is at risk. My survival is at risk. A false fear, that's what I'm talking about, these false fears, where it's just your mind and your ego, right? And then this fear, your fear, if you're in the frequency of fear and you allow it to go on for too long, you're out of touch with your intuition. You can't hear your intuition. You hear your intuition when you're at a high vibrational state. And that's why meditation. So practice that meditation for cold depression. That will get you in touch with your intuition, right? So the fight here is about fear. So you want to use this energy of struggle, because the shadow is struggle, like in the sense of like you're picking the wrong fights. Somebody offended your ego. Right? And then you're in the shadow of struggle. You're in the wrong fight. You're fighting for the ego. You're fighting for your own self-importance. You're fighting for a false identity. Right? That's not what you want. You want to fight against the real enemy, which is fear and your ego. It's like, I'm not letting fear stop me. I'm not letting fear stop me of what could happen, what could go wrong. Right? And this is a fight for your heart. Right? It's a fight for your authenticity. So this is the 38, right? This 38 here. This is about the fighting. It's fighting for your integrity and your authenticity, right? So it's like if you're imposed upon, Pluto opposing Mars right now, right? And say you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this for your job that you're in. Just for a paycheck. It's all about survival. And your intuition is like, no, this is goes against my values, right? And what matters to me and in my integrity. Then the 38 steps up. And it's like, no, I'm not listening. The 38, the beauty of a 38 when they're in this energy, they can't hear anybody else because it's an individual, right? This is an individual channel, right here, the 28, and then the 3955 on the other side, the programming partner. These two are individual, and this is about sound, and so they're not designed to be influenced by the outside. So when you're really in the 38 of perseverance, you're not going to be influenced by other people. You're going to be doing your own thing. And we have to get used to this because the cross of the sleeping phoenix is coming fast in 2027. And we have to start listening to and obeying our own intuition and living as that, right? As a self-sovereign being on the planet. So back to this 38. Okay, so you want to be fighting for the heart, your authenticity, persevere, the sacred warrior, knowing there's a way through every block. It's about grabbing a spine, right? Reminding yourself of who you are. You're a soul. Nobody can hurt you. You're a timeless soul that was never born or never die. You can't be, your soul can never be annihilated and destroyed, right? It's always there, the spirit. So you want to persevere for the right fight in your life. So you want to be looking where you've gone belly up in your life. And to know that these blocks are making you stronger and they will align you with your purpose. All these little tests, right, are aligning you with your greater purpose. These are like the stepping stones to get to your greater purpose. And to liberate yourself from victim consciousness when you're in this energy. And then you fight. When you fight for the heart, everyone wins. That's the true warrior, right? Is fighting for the heart and what's right. What's right. What's aligned with you and your integrity. Okay, so there's the gift, because every gate has a shadow, a gift, and a city. And the divine gift is honor. And I've heard this so many times with really talented people that we know of. Probably not all of them went through this process, but they go through this block. They're tested. So they're like these really talented people. I've heard this so many times from these people. And they're in this karmic relationship, right? So there's like this beautiful singer, right? Beautiful singer, beautiful voice, has touched, right, millions of people with her voice. Well, you look at her backstory and she's like, she was in this karmic relationship, and her karmic relationship hated the sound of her voice. Like, don't sing, you're no good, you got no talent, I'd rather listen to this person. And she started to believe it, right? And stop singing. There's this beautiful talent that she was given by the divine, and she's squashing it. Until she started to believe in herself, and she found this 38, that 38th gate, right? To persevere for her integrity, right? Her belief in herself, her soul, like urging her to sing, right? So what do you do there? Do you blame that karmic? No, you honor them. That's the city. I honor you for the role that you played in my life, right? And the role that you played in my life was to create this block, right? There's the block, right, that I had to move through. And that was to finally stand up and say, no, I can't, I know who I am and I need to leave. I need to leave this relationship. It's not serving me anymore. I'm dying inside, right? My soul is dying. So things like that to keep in mind for this new moon, everybody. And then we've got, so the Two of Pentacles is just the back and forth. You can read it a couple different ways with this Two of Pentacles, because you can see that you see the ocean behind him and then in the waves. So this would be like keeping your balance and your equilibrium, right? Or you're going back and forth in duality in the material world, and you're not accepting this gift of the veil coming in, right? Like the 38 can access what's behind the veil so that you can get real guidance for yourself. Yeah. Okay. What else? Anything else? Yeah, so it gives you psychic ability, the 38.1, psychic ability. Okay. Let me just check my notes. I'll just write a few notes. You know that I'm 3 parts right, so it's all about just being in the present moment. Yeah. Okay. So in terms of, I know what I wanted to say, in the gray period and the cold depression, you want to make sure that you're not fighting, because this is a channel of struggle, right? The 38-28. And the 28 is about purpose, right? It's about purpose. So this is, you don't want to fight for the wrong things, which this would be like, I have no purpose, my life is meaningless. Or the 55 on the other side, which is life is meaningless. It's empty. It's empty, and I'm going to fight against this. I'm going to fight against feeling empty and that life has no purpose. Right? I'm going to fight against that. That's the wrong approach with the 38, right? You don't want to be fighting like the running, because you're reacting. You're never going to, the thing is, when you react to something, you can't get rid of it. You're still attached to it, right? So what you want to do is fight for your own soul, your own heart, right? Whatever impulses are coming from your soul. I want to fight for that, which means I follow through on that. And I fight and I stand up for that. And you tell the naysayers, no, I'm listening to my intuition. And my intuition is leading me to here. My heart is leading me to here. Right? And standing up. Okay. So let's look at some comments from people. Where are the comments? Okay, and yeah, let me know if you got the 38, the 39, or even the 28 and the 55. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Good, people are sleeping well. Me too, because I was going through some sleep stuff in November, early December, I think. And yeah, I've been sleeping really well. Okay. Thank you, Heather, for the donation. I appreciate that. Phantom Solitude, Danielle. Okay. MG. Probably not this stream. I can get into definitions, but maybe another time for that. Okay. It's been rough but empowering, yeah. Well, and this is a time too to really reflect back on what you've been through in 2024. We've all been through stuff. From Argentina, yay. Okay, only the 55. Yes, and lucid dreaming, same. Okay, so let's do some astrology here. Okay. And I want to get my overlays. Yeah. Just bear with me for a second here. Okay. Overlays. And you 6 lines, you got to get ready. You projectors, you got to get ready for next year. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. Okay, there we go. There's my coffee. And Aries. Okay. I just got a new yoga ball to sit on, because I was finding that my body was not liking that computer chair. Anybody have any hot tips on when you have to sit for long periods of time for your work? Okay. 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 So we're not doing the cards for these guys. Okay. So let me get this. So Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We're talking about the new moon that's in the gate of the fighter. The gate of the fighter. And let me get this. The gate of the fighter, which is a pressure here from the root chakra. And this is about fighting for your integrity, right? Your integrity. So the question to ask yourself, in my life, is this a block or a guardrail? Is this something that I have to let go of because it's a guardrail and it's protecting me? Or is this something that I got to double down on and persevere? And the Aries totally relates to this. Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Because they're the warriors of the zodiac. And let's see where it is. So 12, 11, 10. So it's in your 10th house, right? So this could be with your father, right? Your father or a father figure in your life. It could be in your career, could be in authority, like people in a position of authority over you, right? So you want to, maybe you're being called for this new moon to leave whatever career that you're in and strike anew. So this is a time to really listen. The 38.1 gives you psychic abilities. So you're able to listen to the voice of your soul rather than your ego, right? And you want to look at what you fight for. Are you fighting for the wrong things, the wrong people? So this Aries is like shoot and ask questions later. So it'll be a good idea for you just to take a couple long, deep breaths before you're reacting, right? So you want to look at where you need to take a stand in your life and honor what truly matters. Honor what truly matters. Yeah. So I'm not too worried about Aries, sun, moon, or rising. That this is definitely their wheelhouse, right? This here. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's keep moving on. Here, that's for Aries. And then Taurus. Okay. Okay, Michael, just calm down here. Okay. So this is for Taurus, sun, moon, or rising. And we're talking about the new moon, right? Right here. We're talking about the new moon. Okay. The new moon in the 38. Right there. It's like going there. There we go. Coming off the root. And so this is the gate of the fighter. So you want to be fighting for the right thing, So it's the shadow Taurus of struggle, which the shadow is just like, I'm going to go belly up, or I'm fighting the wrong fight, which I'm fighting for my ego and my not self to try to keep that alive, or I'm persevering. So you want to discern what is correct for you. So let's look at where that may happen for you in the new moon. So 12, 11, 10, 9. So it's in the 9th house. The 9th house. So this is your belief, right? So I would look, with the 9th house, I would look at where are you letting your beliefs, tell you that there's not a way through every block. I have to give up. This is a whole paradigm shift, right? We're going through that right now as a humanity. A paradigm shift around our beliefs, right? Here. So this is your world outlook. You're being called to expand your world outlook and to tell yourself that I can persevere. And again, Taurus, this is definitely a, Taurians definitely persevere, but maybe they need to admit defeat too. Maybe they're clinging to something, which would be like money, the material world, too tightly. Right? So you want to look at that too. Am I fighting for the wrong fight? Am I fighting to just accumulate money, right? Thinking that that's going to give me security, right? Am I too focused on money? Maybe I have to let this go. This is a not self, right? So maybe there's the belief that I need this much money to survive, right? The material realm is going to keep me safe. That would be a belief system to let go of. That would be admit defeat. That's the ego is letting go. And then because you need to surrender, you're surrendering to the soul now. So the new belief, because when you let go of something old, then something has to substitute, right? And the substitute could be, the new belief is that the divine is taking care of me. And I have to persevere in that department, right? I'm fighting for my heart, right? I'm fighting for my integrity, and this is going to make me stronger. Yeah. Okay, that's what I got for Taurus. So look there in the 9th house matters, Taurus. And And then let's go for Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And we're talking about the new moon and the 38th gate right there. This is the gate of the fighter. It's the gate of the fighter. So this is this pressure to fight. And it's fighting for what gives you purpose. It's about your soul purpose. What gives you that, Gemini. So this would be 8th, right? 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So 8th house. The 8th house here for the Gemini. Okay. So this could be your healing, Gemini. And remember, you got Jupiter in there too. Is that right? No, you don't have Jupiter. You got Jupiter in your first house, right? You got Jupiter to help you in your first house, your body. So this could be around healing, right? Do I need to persevere? Right? This is shadow, right? This is a shadow house. This is like huge transformation. It's totally the phoenix coming out from the flames when it moves out of that 8th house. So the new moon is maybe telling you that you need to persevere with your healing. You're a Gemini, so you can be flitty, right? Geminis are flitty. They go flit from one thing to the next. Is to persevere. So make that commitment to yourself and your own healing, you know? I know that there's a dragon. I know there's a dragon in that 8th house, but I'm ready to face it, right? I'm ready to face it. I'm ready to transmute this shadow, right? And maybe you haven't done that before. Maybe you haven't put that as a priority as your healing. That's a deeply, deeply healing house. Yeah, and this is the time to do it, the shadow work, right? Okay, so there could be some trauma work there in the 8th house, shadow work. It's like the, it's the cellar, Okay, that's what we got for Gemini. And then, there we go. Gemini, and let's go for Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So this is Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is the new moon is in your opposite sign because this is Capricorn, and it's in the 38th gate. Okay, and Cancer's on the other side, and that's how we ground it. And this is provocation. It's the shadow of provocation, the gate of provocation. And the 38 is the fighter. It's the fighter. So what are you fighting for? Or not fighting for? Right? So this is you need to see, you need to discern, is this a block or a guardrail in your life? And it's around 7th house. So this is your partner, your marriage partner, right? Your marriage partner. 7th house, or anyone that you sign a contract with, right? Is this a block? I can feel something's going, and Cancer likes to hang on to things that are not good for them, right? They like to hang on, those Cancers, right? So they want to discern, oh, there just seems to be block after block after block in this relationship, right? Well, then maybe you're being called to push through. Maybe you're being called to persevere with your relationship, right? And to do the work. Or maybe it's a guardrail and it's showing you that you've got to let go, right? And admit defeat, that there's no energy, that you're separating, you're going on separate paths, right? So are you fighting for the wrong things and the wrong people, right? Do you need to take a stand in your life, Cancer? And you want to honor what truly matters, what truly matters. You don't want to be wasting your energy here, right? So the 38.1 gives you psychic abilities. So that means you have access to the spiritual realm with the 38.1. So what you do is you ask yourself a question. Do I need to keep this? Do I need to fight for this relationship? Do I need to persevere for this relationship or not? Yes or no? And whatever comes up first in your head, that's your intuition. And that's what you have to obey. If you're making a mental strain and right, and it's like, well, nothing's coming, and you're trying to block it with a noise in your head, that's what the ego does. That's not your intuition. Your intuition will let you know, like immediately, even before you think, like are mentally forcing yourself to think, your intuition will come up first. And this is what you'll know, right? That's that 38.1. You're psychic during this time. And then the new moon is to let it go. Let it go or persevere here. Okay, so this is any relationship that you have a contract with, which would be marriage or a business partnership too. Okay. And let's go for Leo. Okay. Leo, sun, moon, or rising. We've got, we're talking about the new moon coming up. So you got the heads up here. And maybe you can come back and watch this as we get closer to the new moon. It's in the 38.1. That's the root chakra. And this is one of the spiritual warrior gates right here. The spiritual warrior gates. So this is fighting the good fight. It's fighting to stay as your authentic self, Leo, because that's important to the Leos. Right? Your authentic self. Because you've got Mars retrograde in your first house, so you're getting a hit with your confidence, right? You're not feeling as confident as you usually do. So you don't want to go belly up, right? Belly up when it comes to your authenticity. So the question on the table for this new moon is where is it? It's in the 6th house, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's in the 6th house. Right. So is this a block or a guardrail? Right? So is it a block, which means persevere, go for it, or a green light? It's a green light. Is it a block? And if it's a guardrail, then it's a stop. Right? It's a stop and let it go. Okay, so maybe your health stuff's coming up. Right? You've just had Pluto in your 6th house for 16 years, right? So you've had huge transformation around your health and your work and how you work. So is this a block? Like, it's so much energy to seem to deal with my health. I can't believe I got to make more changes to my health, right? I'm having problems with my health, right? Is this a block? It's like, okay, well, you got to get your warrior on, right? You got to grab a spine and then push through this block of energy, right? The block of energy. And the 38 and 39, if you have these natally, then you've got to be physically active, right? This is to disperse this energy. Yeah. And I find myself, the biggest challenge is to get through that inertia, and that's the block. But as soon as you get through the inertia, then the momentum builds, right? So it's Capricorn, which means it's baby steps every day, right? The 6th house is daily. It's like, I'm going to do this every day, whatever it is. I'm going to commit. I'm going to persevere, right? I'm going to do this every day, and it will bring return on investment huge in terms of your health. Right, in terms of your health or your work. So look at the work matters or your health routine, right? So my sense is you got to spend a little bit more time on your health, just with Mars retrograde in the 1st house. And when Mars is there till February, and Leo, well, it's retrograde until next year, is to really watch. Right, you've got to be really, really careful because Mars is in your 1st house, right? Mars is like knives and accidents and violence and things like that. You've got to stay grounded, and this is a good way to use that energy, right? Use it as in physical activity, right, for your health. Yeah. So this is where to make a stand in your life, and you're doing it for you, not for anybody else, right? You're doing it for you. And maybe go into that honor what truly matters. Well, to have my physical vehicle, that truly matters, right? Otherwise, you're just flitting around in the ethers, right? Okay. That's Leo. That's Leo. Okay. And then Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We are talking about the 38. So the new moon and the gate of the fighter for the Virgos. For the Virgos. So the question here in your life for this new moon, and remember this doesn't mean new moon December 30th, and then this is about the new energy for next year. Virgos, the new year is January 21st or 22nd, depending where you live in the world, and that's when the sun moves into the 41st. Right? That's the real new year. But this is like a little substack, right, of the new. And this is really letting go of 2024 in a sense, right? Because Mars and Mercury were activating the 38 for the year, for the new year chart. So the question is this a block or a guardrail? And this is going to be in your 5th house, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's in the 5th house, in your 5th house. Okay, so where do I need to persevere or admit defeat? Where in this 5th house, right? So this could be your children, could be a romantic partner. It could be a romantic partner, right? Do I need to persevere with this romantic partner, with my creativity, with my child? There's a block there in this area, right? Or do I need to admit defeat and it's a guardrail and there's no movement. There's no movement. And so like I said at the beginning of the video, you want to ask yourself the question, is this a block or is it a guardrail? Is it something that I should persevere with or is it something that I should let go of? And then listen to what comes up into your head, like right away. That's your intuition. So this is maybe you're fighting for the wrong things or the wrong people, or maybe and what do you need to take a stand on in your life and what truly matters. And the 5th house is like the fun house, right? Your enjoyment too. What you enjoy to do. Okay. And then let's go for Libra. Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising here. And Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, we're talking about this new moon in the 38th gate. The 38th gate. You scared me. Just a second. Sorry about that. That's my dog. Okay, so Libra, this new moon in the 38 is asking you, and it's hitting your 4th house, right? So there's some kind of block in the 4th house. So this could be your mother, your home, where you live, right? Or is it a guardrail? Maybe there's a block. You're having a block in terms of your mother, Libra, right? Something's happening with your mother. You're going through some kind of conflict. Are you going to fight for this relationship or are you going to let it go, right? So do you need to persevere with this relationship or do you need to let it go, admit defeat, right? Are you fighting for the wrong things? Maybe you're arguing with your mother, right, about things that don't really matter, right? So you want to honor what truly matters in this area of mother or home, right? So this would be like, two Libras, if you're getting getting evicted from your house and, I guess I have to go. Well, you got to tune in. Is this a guardrail and I'm being protected and I'm being taken somewhere new and better? Or is it a block and then I'm being called to stand up and say, no, I'm appealing this. This is wrong. Right? And I'm go through this process. And the process, Libra, is to make you stronger, right? These blocks are tests that serve to strengthen your commitment and your ability to surrender. So there's a way through every block, right? So that's why you got to know, is it a block or a guardrail? And you do that by asking yourself the question. And then you listen, and listening is like half a second. You're going to get yes or no, right? Okay. And let's go for Scorpio. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So Scorpio, we're talking about Scorpio sun, moon, or rising. We're talking about the new moon and the 38th gate, first line right there. So it's coming off your root chakra. And this is the gate of the fighter, right? So there's an area in your life for this new moon where you need to ask yourself, is this a block or is it a guardrail? Right? So remember here, one of the sutras of the Aquarian age is there's a way through every block, right? So the block is different than a guardrail. The block is like, I need to persevere, right, on this. I need to, this block is a test. It's a spiritual test that's serving to strengthen my commitment and my ability to surrender. Or is it a guardrail, and that means I have to let it go. I have to let it go. I'm wasting my energy on things that don't matter, right? Are you tending the fight for the wrong things and the wrong people? So, 1, 2, 3. So Scorpio's got it in the 3rd house, right? And this is all about your communication. Your communication. It's about your siblings, your brothers and your bros and sisters, right? So there. So maybe you're in a battle with your brothers and your sisters or a sibling, right? With the 38th gate. And you're fighting for the wrong thing. And you're fighting for the wrong thing. Maybe you're trying to save them, right? Whatever it is. And it's draining you. And it's draining you and exhausting you. So you want to look at, do I have to let this go? Right? Do I have to admit defeat? That I'm wasting my energy. This is not serving me. It's the wrong battle. I'm in the wrong battle. Or am I in the right battle? Do I need to persevere? Right? In terms of my siblings. And then that goes for communication too, right? With the 3rd house. Do I need to persevere and speak my truth? Right? And stand up for my heart. Right? Stand up for my authenticity, because that's what the 38th, the 3828, the channel of struggle, is about putting you in situations that test you, right? That test you. And what you're fighting for is I'm maintaining my identity. It's not just going to be given to you, right? That you have to stand up for it, and that's what the tests are for, right? So you want to look at that, like, am I admitting defeat? And I'm just not communicating, why bother? Or do I need to persevere, right? So this is the question on the new moon. And like I said before, the difference between the mind and not self and the intuition is really easy. What you do is ask yourself the question, is this a block? Is this a block, right? Or am I being protected? Do I need to persevere with this? Or do I need to let go? And then you listen, and in half a second your answer will come, because the 38.1 gives you psychic abilities. So it's like you have access to the other side of the veil. Okay? So that's Scorpio. And then let's go for Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, of course, is going to be in the 2nd house. So Sagittarius, this is about the new moon and the 38.1. This is the gate of the fighter, okay? And it's in your 2nd house. 1, 2, your 2nd house, your money. Your money and your sense of self-value. Sense of self-value. So in this area, right, maybe you're coming against a block around money and your finances. Right? Is it something that you have to fight for? So just like on a mundane level, it would be like, you need you're trying to get a refund or something, right? You're trying to get a refund for something, or you realize that you were overbilled. You were overbilled on something, right? This is very little, but these things are important because they're spiritual tests. It's like, do I persevere this? Do I follow through on it? Do I get on the phone, get my money back? Or do I just let it go and it's just some kind of guardrail to protect my energy, right? So you want to ask yourself with the 38, is this something that I need to follow through on with the money? It's because this is affecting my self-value. Could be affecting your self-value. Then you listen for the yes or the no, and it will be immediate, like half a second. Or do I just let it go? Or do I let it go? Okay. Okay. And then we'll go Capricorn, and that's the first house. Whoops. There we go. So we're talking about Capricorn. Let me just fix this, you guys. There we go. So Capricorn, you're talking about the new moon in the 38th gate right there, and this in your first house, and that's you, our first house. So you are going to be the embodiment, Capricorn rising sun or moon, of this warrior, of the warrior. So you want to make sure that you're fighting the right fights, right? You're fighting the right things, right? So in your life, you need to be aware, is this a block or a guardrail? Do I need to fight with this person because I don't agree with them? I don't agree with them. They don't agree with me. Do I need to get my point across? Do I need to get them to my point of view? Right? Or is this a guardrail? And you just agree to disagree and let them go and let them go. And maybe showing you're not aligned with these certain people anymore. So you're the one that has to discern that, right, with the 38. But you're going to be the embodiment of this fighter, of the fighter. So you want to be standing up for the right things in your life. And so if you have some kind of belief, that's not who you are. That's not who you are. So you want to make sure that you're not fighting for your attachments, right? You're not fighting for your attachments, Capricorn, which would be a beliefs. Do I really need to prove myself, right, to this other person, and they have to agree with everything I say? Or do I just let it go, right? I choose my battles. This is what this first line is about, is to choose your battles. Okay. So that's Capricorn. And then Aquarius. Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising. It's happening in your 12th house. Where is it? So the new moon is happening in your 12th house. And this is good news for Aquarius, because this means that you're finishing up some kind of cycle. And maybe you have a cycle around this fighting for the wrong things, right? Fighting for the wrong things and the wrong people as an Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising. You know, because you think that you have to. Maybe it comes from your past lives, right? The 12th house can be that too. Can come from your past lives, your ancestors to look at this, right? Like, why am I fighting for this? Just ask yourself that question. And is this a block or a guardrail? So this is going to be very, very deep for the Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising, this new moon. Right? It's beginning a whole new cycle for you. Yeah. Okay. To maintain your energy. And it's the first line, 38.1, so that means it gives you psychic ability. So that's perfect for the 12th house placement. Okay. And then let's go for Pisces. Right here. Pisces. And so we're talking about the new moon on the 38th gate, the gate of the fighter, Pisces. And this is going to hit you in your 11th house, Pisces, sun, moon, or rising. So this is around your friendship, your friendships, right? So do you want to persevere in your friendships, with certain friendships? Or do you want to admit defeat, which is to let them go, So the blocks right? Pisces, Sun, Moon are rising. The blocks strengthen your commitment and your character and your soul purpose. The guardrail is protecting you. It's like, no, this friend is not aligned with you anymore, right? But this other friend over here, yeah, I'm going to persevere with this friend. So you're going to know, because the 38 is about the good fight, right? You want to be fighting for the right things. And the 38 is in the first line, which means you have psychic abilities, right? You have psychic abilities. So you want to ask yourself the question, is this person where I need to persevere? Do I need to persevere in this relationship, or do I need to let this person go? And immediately you'll get the yes or the no, right? It will be immediate. Okay, so you can explore these further, right? The house system. It's really easy. Like, just type into Google AI, like, 11th house, and we'll give you all the qualities of 11th house. But that's where to go, like, to focus your energy there. Okay. Yeah. No, Nazine, thank you for the donation. And I love that. Laura says, interesting dream last night, swimming with a whale who was trying to be my friend. That's awesome. Whale medicine. Whales are like, they hold the Akashic records of the planet. And they're very similar to elephants. Yeah. That's almost like your past life was communicating to you through the whale. Yeah. And yes, we did Gemini. We did Gemini. Okay. So, where do we want to go next? We'll go to the twin flames. Okay. So, let me do the overlays here. And we're going to do twin flame. Okay. So, let me know if you're on the twin flame journey. Okay. Let me know if you're on the twin flame journey. And let me get here. Where's my... There we go. Okay, so this is the twin flames, and this is for the new moon. That's there in the 38.1. Right there, the new moon. And this is it's activating the gate of the fighter. Right? So remember that there's the runner and the chaser. The runner and the chaser in the twin flame connection. Because you can't really call it a relationship. That's kind of up to the divine, what this relationship will look like in the 3D realm. Right? How that manifests. But in terms of the soul, right? This is in the 5D, in the causal plane. In the causal plane, right up here. So it's really a connection. I like to call it the twin flame connection more than a relationship, right? It's really a connection because there's a lot of stigma and conditioning that comes with the word relationship, and that's the problem. So if you're a twin flame, let me know in the replay or in the chat, and watch the beginning of twin flames about this time that we're in right now. It's called the gray period. So if you're feeling blah and numb, there's a reason for it. You're feeling hopeless, right? You're feeling isolated, whatever that is. You want to go back and read the gray period because this totally fits with the twin flame journey. And the twin flame journey requires an ego death, right? It requires that. There's a death drive that goes with this gray period. This is the higher death drive. It's an ego death, so that the soul can be manifested, right? Which means it can be seen. It can be seen in the earth plane, right? So this has to happen. And in the twin flame journey, this totally speeds up this process of ego death. That's if you surrender the ego to your soul. So it's all about surrender on the twin flame journey. Okay, so this is about fighting. The moon, so this is fighting for the right things, right? Fighting for the right things, the right people, right? The people in your life. So the question here that we're asking is this a block or a guardrail? So if you go back, twin flames, to, there's a sutra for this new age of Aquarius, and there's a way through every block. There's a way through every block, 100%. But the problem is you need to discern, is it a block or is it a guardrail? Is it something that I have to let go, or is it something that I have to persevere and keep moving forward, right? Okay. So let's do a card for the chaser and the runner. And the chaser is the one that seems to be chasing the connection, and then the wanting it to be in form, right? Wanting to force it to be in 3D form. And then there's the runner that's running away from this. It's really an illusion that both of them are. It's an illusion that one's chasing and one's running. It's a 3D illusion. But it's the game that you have to play, because the game is showing you. Okay, if say the runner's running away and not communicating to you, well, that means you're not communicating to yourself. Like, you have to always bring it back to the self. Back to the self. Okay, so what do we have for the chaser? Oh, that's funny. Okay, so there's the chaser. I think the runner got this card last time. And where's the runner? Okay. These so fit with the... Okay. I just want to do some guidance cards. Okay. Let's see. Do we have a card for the chaser? For guidance. Do we have a card? That's way too many. Okay. Do we have a card for the chaser? And then for the runner. Okay. There we go. Okay. So the ego cards for the runner and the chaser, the twin flames. So the chaser got the lashing out card, lashing out, and then the runner got the depression card, depression card. So this totally fits with this. If we go back here, the gray period on the planet. So this is what watch the beginning of this twin flames, the beginning of my video for more in depth here. So this is, the ego has to, during this time of great transition on the planet, we've been through this time before, and this is what's the ancients talked about this gray period that humanity goes through, which means that they feel they're experiencing depression even though they're not aware of it. So the ego, I mean collectively, the ego has to surrender to the soul. It's under a great deal of pressure now to surrender to the soul. So what it's saying here, it will lash out. And isn't it interesting? You got the lash out card, chaser. Okay, so this is the ego lashing out because it's not, and it's showing you that it's still alive, this ego, because you want an ego death. Of course you want to, we can't annihilate our ego completely because we have a body and we have a name, right? But that's like you want the bare minimum identity for an ego death, chasers. And that's like, my name is this, right? And I have a body and a mother, right? I have my name, my body, my mother. You just want it to be very, very simple in terms of your identity. Everything else is excess that you have to let go of, right? So the chaser's got the lash out. So this is what's happening with the ego. The ego's not going to go gentle into that good night, right? It's going to go with the fight. So there could be some lashing out. There could be some anger, right? You're feeling angry in your life, chasers. And maybe you're directing that anger at your twin, right? If you're in separation or if you're together, right? So it's reacting, right? It's reacting here with lashing out because the ego's not getting its way. So you want to bring it back inside. It's like, why am I angry? Well, chances are that you're not getting your way, and it means your ego's not getting its way. I want life to be like this. I should have this. Especially if you got my mind, the my mind me, that's ego, right? That's ego. So the twin flame relationship should be like this, right? It should be going this way. My life should be going this way. This should be up. And you're completely resisting. You're completely resisting what is, right? What is in this present moment. So it's just about moment by moment, being in the present moment, accepting what is. This is what is. This is what is. And this is how you surrender your ego. You keep surrendering your ego in the present now moment. The ego can't live in the present now moment. It's boring. Right? It's boring to the ego to be in the present now moment. It's always looking for next. Right? It's called destination consciousness. I'm looking for the next thing. The next thing. So so there could be a lashing out around relationships, because you did get the Nine of Pentacles, right? And this is a beautiful card. This is like the Empress in waiting. It's like the Empress in waiting is the Nine of Pentacles, and this is to enjoy yourself. And enjoy your aloneness. You know, you can be alone and not lonely. Lonely is when the ego's there, right? Because the ego is always looking for something new. It's bored. It does not like the present now moment. But if you're in this true state of aloneness and self-sovereign and you have everything you need, this is what I would say. This would get rid of this lashing out of the ego card, is to be okay on your own, to enjoy your own company, right? Yeah. And just focus on yourself. Just focus on yourself. Get to enjoy you. Right? Discover who you are as the chaser. Who am I? What do I like? What do I enjoy? Right? I'm not focused on gaining happiness outside of me. And this is what the twin flame journey teaches you, that it's not outside of you. Right? None of this is outside of you. Your happiness isn't outside of you. It's already there. It's already here in this present now moment. Okay. Yeah. And just know that the ego is like a 3-year-old having a tantrum. Just to let the ego do its thing because it's dying. This is part of the ego death, right? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's beautiful for the chaser. And then the runner, we got depression. The depression card. So that fits with the cold depression. So maybe the runners are feeling this. Right? They're feeling this cold depression. Cold depression. And remember, I've got a meditation for that. I got some medicine for the runners and anybody else that wants this medicine. It's a Kundalini Yoga meditation explicitly for this cold depression, this time that we're in now. So it's on my website. If you go down to the information box, just click on the link and then you can go practice it. And this will really help with the depression. So remember that the twins mirror one another. So one's lashing out, that's the chaser, and the other one's depressed, right? But both are anger, right? So one's turned inward and one's expressed outward. So the runner is going inward. So that too is the ego lashing out, but it's being expressed as depression. So this is like the runner is stuck in a rut. They don't want to move on with their life, right? They're disappointed with their life and how it's gone. They're exhausted. They're not taking care of themselves, possibly, the runner, right? And this is all symptoms of the ego death, right? So the runner, too, has to surrender their ego to the soul, to the soul. They need to surrender, right? So this is the twin flame journey is showing them that they can't escape their twin, right? The chaser can't escape the runner can't escape the chaser, right? So it's calling you to surrender to your soul for the runner. And then this will start to lift the depression, but the depression is the anger, right? Whoops. Okay. Okay. What's the other one? Okay. I gotta delete something really quick, you guys. Else my computer's gonna crash. Okay. Okay, there we go. That should be okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so back to twin flames. Okay, so that's the runner. We talked about the runner. And then the guidance is the Queen of Cups, right? So this is telling the runner that they need to nurture themselves. Okay, they're depressed and angry. This says to nurture yourself. The Queen of Cups nurtures herself, right? So this is like, I'm feeling really, really down. Maybe I'm not going to push myself, right? I'm not going to push myself. I'm going to take some time to nurture myself, to heal. It's about healing. Because ego death is a real thing. And the chasers know this because they go through it first. Is supporting themselves, being kind to themselves, being kind to others. And embracing your emotional intelligence, right? So if we bring it back to the new moon for the runner, right, the 38, and it's in the first line, this is psychic abilities, right? So we all have this potential to go into our psychic abilities. So the Queen of Cups is not an intellectual, right? She has emotional intelligence. And maybe the runner really like poo-poos that. Well, the emotions are a bother to me, right? Well, there's a whole intelligence to your emotions. And maybe they're learning that, right? They're learning that. There's something that's grabbing their attention because they're being overwhelmed by their emotions right now, right? So they're learning emotional intelligence. They're learning more about their intuition and their psychic abilities and what they need to fight for, right? What they need to let go of and what they need to fight for. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else for the twins? Nope. No, that's it for the twins. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the types. Let's go for the types. That's twin flame. And generator. I just want to check you guys. Okay. Thank you everybody for the twin flame people. I'm just reading now. So Julia T's a runner. Yeah, and she admits it too. Okay. Very accurate for me and my spouse. Yeah, I'm in the journey. And Guinevere is Satnam. Great. Yeah. Feeling it. Feeling it, feeling it, feeling it. We're in crazy times. And I really feel like the twins, I mean, if we look at relationships just as a consciousness, just like all relationships as a consciousness, I feel like the twins are like a microcosm of this macrocosm. So a lot of these dynamics are being played through the twin flame connection, you know, all these dynamics. So if you feel like sometimes oh my God, I'm having this intense, interaction with my twin. And it feels like it's greater than me and her, or me and him, whatever, right? Whatever sex your twin is. And then, or gender. And then you've got to realize, like, no, you're tapped into this whole consciousness, because the relationship consciousness, because you're purging, right? You're purging these old tribal dynamics that have been with us for so long, right? As we enter in the cross of the sleeping phoenix, we'll really start to see the twins not have so much resistance in coming together. There's a lot of resistance in the twins coming together, which is a miracle that some are married. I know a couple you here on the chat are married. That's a miracle, right? That's happened. Okay, so let's do the generator. So generators, we're talking about this new moon activating the gate of the fighter, right? So generators. So you want to look at your astrological too, and this will give you a greater picture too of what you're fighting for. So you want to remember, generators, that there's a sutra that's called "There's a way through every block." Right? But not everything is a block. Sometimes the block, it seems like a block. Maybe sometimes it's a guardrail, which is like, this is that feeling of like you're banging your head against the wall over and over and over again. Nothing's changing. That's when you want to admit defeat and you want to let it go. But if it's a block, it's something that you persevere and you know what's what, right? You'll know even with your sacral as a generator, if you're getting the yes, then you need to persevere and not just go belly up. So you got to know what's worth fighting for, right? And what you need to let go of, what truly matters in your life. And you've got till December 30th to discern this. So I'm going to do an ego card and maybe house. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, generators. The world's looking better for generators. Things are changing. Okay. So what's the ego that's up for the generators, for our generator friends? What's the ego that's up for their generator friends? Okay. Is it this one? Okay. And then what's the house? Okay. So the generator's got the authority figure. Respect my authority. So something in your life you got to fight against or let go of, an authority figure in your life. So this could be a parent, right? A parent in your life, a boss, could be a boss or a supervisor, a landlord, a police officer, right? Someone that you perceive as having authority over you in your life right now. And it's in the 6th house because I rolled the die here. So this could be a doctor, right? Because 6th house rules health. So it could be a doctor or somebody in this kind of health position that's a so-called expert, right? Or the authority figure could be a boss, right, in the 6th house, because this is your work. So I would look in these areas. And remember, generators, when we have an authority figure, when we're in the workplace, the universe, I feel like the divines create it work, to trick us, because it brings us all together in one place. People that you wouldn't choose to be even friends with, I wouldn't even choose to be their friend. And here I am, I see them more than my spouse, right? Because you're working 8 hours a day plus, right? So where was I going with that? Okay, so what we do with an authority figure, right? Because we're creating this family dynamic, and look at it. If you're in the workplace, generators, look at your workmates and stuff, and you're gonna go, oh, that person reminds me of my father. That person reminds me of my mother. This one reminds me of my little sister, or my uncle or my aunt. Right? You'll see it right in the workplace in the sixth house. So whoever this authority figure is going to be in your psyche, right? Because you have an inner child. We have a little child in us that never grows up, is going to view that authority figure as mother or father, as mother and father. So all the dynamics, all the unintegrated dynamics that you have with your mother and father that you haven't healed are going to get played out in this authority figure. Right? So maybe you never stood up to your parent. Maybe you never stood up to your father or your mother. And then you've got this authority figure that's playing a role, because that's all they're doing is they're playing a role. And now you fight, right? You stand up for yourself. You stand, especially if your parent is gone, like passed on to the other side, and you stand up for yourself. Because remember, these are tests. The 38th gate is like testing you. It's testing your perseverance. It's testing your commitment to stand up for yourself, to stand up for your authenticity. And it's like, no, I'm not doing this. If you're being called to, like, maybe your parent would not consider you, right? Consider you like, we're moving, as a child. That's like traumatic to a child. We're moving. I'm taking you away from all your friends and your school and your environment, and we're going to move to somewhere unknown, right? Unknown. And the child has no say. It's all about the parents, right? So you would feel powerless. So translate that over to your authority figure, your boss or whatever, or a landlord, even with the 10th house, right? Is saying that, well, you're evicted. You can't live here anymore. Or we're downsizing. Sorry, we have to let you go. Right? So that would be like an echo of some dynamic in childhood that you haven't worked up to. So this is like, I'm just throwing out examples. It's going to be resonate with you or not, but you'll know what this is. And it's like, is this a block where I have to stand up to this authority figure, stand up for myself? And it could be as simple as like, well, I'm going to stand up for myself while I'm being downsized and fired, and that I'm going to say, that's not fair. I've given this company 10 years of my life force energy. I've been so committed to the vision and this and that, right? Do your thing and stand up for yourself without attachment to any kind of outcome. That in itself is going to be so healing for your soul, right? And your inner child. And this strengthens your sense of integrity and your authenticity, right? That's what it means. There's one thing to say, like, yeah, I'm going to be my authentic self and I'm just me, but then the universe tests you. Are you really you? Can you really be you in the face of this, right? That's when you get tested in your character, and then it solidifies your authenticity, and more of your authenticity comes forward, right? Because you've stood up for yourself. Or is it a guardrail and you're being protected, right? So you're gonna discern this yourself. And like I said at the beginning of the video, you ask yourself, do I need to stand up to this person? That's a block, and that means green light. That means I persevere, right? I persevere. Or is this a guardrail and it's like I'm wasting my energy? Right? And then you listen, and it's going to be half a second. It will be yes or no. So you want to ask a yes or no question, and that's your intuition, because the 38.1 gives you psychic ability, right? Psychic ability. So you know what's worth fighting for and what's not. So yeah, it's like fighting for your authenticity. Standing up for your authenticity. And your authenticity is your intuition. It's what you know to be right. It's a feeling inside you. It's your zing with your sacral yes or no, right? And that's also where you can go. But you need somebody else to ask you the question. Well, my method is you just ask yourself the question. You ask your soul the question, especially with the 38.1 energy, right? Yeah. And then the beauty of this, then you don't need the lesson again. Once you get the lesson, you're not going to repeat it. You're on to a new lesson. You're not stuck, right? That's such a generator word, is getting stuck and frustrated. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I got for the generators. And let me do generator. And then the MG. Okay. And then let's go. Okay. There we go. And generators, check out the meditation that I put in the information box. Okay. So, manifesting generators, we're talking about the 38th new moon in the 38th gate, and that's on December 30th, and it's 10 days away, but why not give you the heads up now, right? And also look at your astro sign too, and that will give you a fuller picture. So this is the gate of the fighter. And so this is asking you, this new moon, where do you need to persevere? Who do you need to persevere with? And where do you need to let go? Where is it a guardrail in your life and you need to let it go? Right? Okay. So let me do an ego card for the manifesting generators. There we go. These cards. Ugh, they're getting raggedy. Okay. So what do we have for our manifesting generator friends? What do they need to know? What do they need to know? Okay, what do we have for our manifesting generator friends? Okay. And what's the house to look out for manifesting generators? Okay. Okay, manifesting generators. You got the groupthink card. Those are the lemmings. Do you see the lemmings? They're running off the cliff. Yeah. And the fourth house. The fourth house. Okay. So the fourth house is home, MGs, or mother, and it's groupthink. So groupthink is the hive mind, MGs. It's the hive mind. And so this is where we're headed. There's a bifurcation of consciousness, and one path is going to be the hive mind, and that's the groupthink. The groupthink. We all think alike. This is like a heavy, heavy conditioning field, especially if you don't know who you are. Like, I have no idea who I am. You're going to be susceptible to this hive mind and groupthink. If you're not clear on your own inner authority and your authenticity, you are susceptible to this hive mind, this groupthink, and then basically you're in the lineup with the other not self people, and you're jumping off the cliff, right? Well, they must know what they're doing, so I'm going to jump off with them too. This is not a good strategy, MGs. So with the 3828 is the channel of struggle. And this whole channel and this gate is individual. This is individual, right? Because you can have collective consciousness, collective channel, You can have a tribal channel or you can have an individual channel, and this is individual. So this isn't fighting for the groups. It's not fighting for groups of people. It's fighting for yourself, right? As an individual, that's what it's fighting for. And all individual channels and gates, they're acoustic, right? They're acoustic. And that means with the individual, they don't listen. They don't listen. This is not a design that's influenced by others, right? So it's acoustic. So it's about listening to yourself. And the 38s, the founder of Human Design, talked about it. There's nothing more beautiful than a 38 lost in their own thing, doing their own trip, because they're in this process, the gate of the fighter, right? Fighting for the right things in their life, taking a stand in their life, and it has to do with their authenticity, right? And this totally goes against it. So this is the ego, is allowing others to dictate, right? So you're not listening to yourself. This is what this is saying, or you haven't now until the new moon, and you're listening to the ego. You're listening to groups of people. Groups of people. You may be listening to your own mother, right? Or people in your home, right? People in your home. And dictating what's right for you and what's correct for you and what's not correct for you. And the thing is, they're not you, right? This is the thing with the individual. You know, I do readings. I did a reading for twins once, and they were born like a minute apart or 2 minutes apart. It was like so short. And on the outside, their charts looked exactly alike, right? Exactly alike. But the thing with human design, you can go deeper into the chart. You can go into color and tone, right? So you can go 38.1, 0.1, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 4, 5, 6, and then that goes off, right? And then it turns out they were very different when you go deeper into the chart. So the point I'm saying is that everyone is unique, right? Including you. And so nobody can know you like you know you, right? And especially as an MG, remember the manifesting generators and the generators are they've got the craziest minds, right? They've got the most conditioning, right? Conditioned mind, because everyone wants their energy, right? So this is conditioning that I have to go along to get along, basically, with groupthink. And so I'm giving up my uniqueness to be in this group. This is homogenization, right? This is hiding. This is mediocrity, right? It's hiding your uniqueness within the group. So the other thing, just because it's the fourth house, this means it probably goes back to your childhood, right? That's early childhood. It's the fourth house. This is your personal life. Where you were taught, I would dig that up, where you were taught that you can't stand out, right? You can't stand out. You got to be like everybody else in the family, right? Especially if you come from a big family. So this new moon is saying to fight for yourself. No, I disagree with what you're saying, right? No, I'm not just going to go along to get along here. No, I don't agree with that. And you start to grab a backbone with the 38, right? So it has to come from a true place. Remember, it's a 38.1, so that gives you psychic abilities. So this is where you ask yourself a yes or no question. Is this a block, right? Is this a block? Maybe I'm having a conflict with my mother or someone in my home that I'm living with. Is this a block? And do I need to persevere with this and not talk myself out of my feelings? And I shouldn't say that, the not self. Go belly up, right? Or is this protection? Is it a guardrail and I shouldn't bother? It's not my battle. It's not my battle. So you ask yourself this question: do I need to persevere with this situation, or do I need to let it go? Right? And within a half a second, you'll get your answer, yes or no. And that means it's coming from your intuition. And I'm telling you the easy way. I know you're an MG and you've got your sacral with the yes or no, right? Your sacral. And then if you got an authority on top of that, there's too much room for that mind to come in, that not self. But if you do it my way, then it's going to be, I shouldn't say my way, like I don't like taking credit for this. Just listening, take the soul's way, I want to say. So this is when you receive your intuition, right? It comes really, really fast, within a half a second, and it will be yes or no. It will be a yes or no question. And then you obey that. You obey that. Because these little things, they look little on the outside, but they're actually huge things, right? In the spiritual world, right? Because remember, people in your life are playing roles. That's the gift of the 38 is honor. It's like honoring the role that person is playing for me so that I can stand up and so my soul can start to expand, right? What else? And just because it's the 4th house, I would trust your emotions, right? Trust your emotions. That's your emotional body. So my emotions are like, getting angry. Like I can't bury this anger anymore. It's showing me something. And anger always shows us one thing, when it's correct, is showing us that somebody stepped over our boundaries. So that's what I see with the MGs, that they've got to grab a spine, right? And they've got to take a stand. So look at honor what truly matters in your life. Where do you need to take a stand in your life? And do you tend to fight for the wrong things and the wrong people? Okay? And watch the beginning of the video. Okay. I think that's for the MGs. Okay. Manifesting generators. And let's go for the projectors here. There's the projectors. Okay. So the projectors, we're talking about the new moon on December 30th in Capricorn. The new moon's in Capricorn. The first time, I think, since Pluto's moved into Aquarius. Okay, so this is the gate of the fighter. Gate of the fighter. So let's see where to look. So be sure to look at your astrology 2 projectors, your sun, moon, or rising, and that will give you some more information about how this will affect you, where to go with this. So this new moon is really about looking at where you need to persevere and where you need to let go. Okay. Okay, so what do we have for our projector friends? What do we have for our projector friends here? Okay. Okay, let's do it. A die here. 7th house. Okay, projectors. Okay, so you got the slippery fish card. We seem to get that a lot. And this is the slippery, not self, right? Because the not self is like the best politician. It's the best politician. So this is like not giving a straight answer. This ego dynamic, and it's not giving you a straight answer. So it could be your own slippery fish mind. Right, your own slippery fish mind. Yeah, and it's in the 7th house. So this is about your relationships, right? Okay, so this could be like clients. It's just the other. Let's just call it the other, right? The 7th house is your relationships with other people, And so you're being called to discern, is this a block in my relationships because the 7th house? Is this where do I need to persevere with this relationship, right? Or do I need to let it go? Is it a guardrail? So this is fighting for the wrong things and the wrong people. And where do you need to take a stand in your life with other people and honor what truly matters, right? So right away as a projector, I say, well, I'm going to honor those who recognize me, right? I'm going to honor those that value me, I'm going to persevere with these people, right? And then these other people that don't recognize me, they don't value me, they don't recognize me, right? Then they're guardrails for me. Remember, the projectors really have to start to value their energy right now. You can't be around the wrong people. It's going to take you forever to decondition, right? So you want to be really discerning of who you're committing to. Who am I persevering? Is this person really worth this battle, right? This fight that I'm in, the gate of fighting. Because it takes forever for a projector to pull out of that energy field and decondition themselves in terms of relationships. So you've got to be really, really aware. I think more than any of the other signs, maybe the reflector. Like, maybe they're in there too because but their aura is like, with the reflector, is like the Teflon, right? You don't, as a projector, you don't have the Teflon. Yes, the reflector has all open centers, but they don't have Teflon. Not projectors absorb. They absorb the energy of the other, and then they focused and absorbing aura. So they take the other person in at a deep level, And I've noticed that when I do my readings, my live 2-hour readings with people, I go into like a deep, crazy nap. I call it a nap, and it's like an hour nap. And it's like I just go, not unconscious, but it's like I have to sleep. And I go in this deep sleep for an hour. And this is about processing. Because even on the internet doing readings, I'm taking in that other person at such a deep level, right? I'm feeling their energy at a deep level. I'm focusing. Even though we're not in the same physical space, I'm focused on that other person, right? So projectors need to know that, right? It's all about valuing your energy, right? So that's why I only do one reading a day. I couldn't do any more than one reading a day. It would be so upsetting to my system, So that's what I would say with this, right? In terms of your relationships, it's just be really, really discerning, right? Not desperate, because you're like a Ferrari, You're like a Ferrari. You need certain things that the other types don't, right? The other types don't. So this slippery fish, this is the not self. The slippery fish is the not self. So this is like, well, I'm not that special as a projector, or I got to just grab any invitation that comes to me. I think they recognize me. That's the slippery fish, right? That's the not self. This is the not self that's justifying why you're with the wrong people, right? They're justifying that. And if you find yourself in an environment where you are not with your soul tribe, you're not with your fractal line, then you've got to ask yourself, am I really aligned with myself? Am I really aligned with my authenticity? Right? Like your life is going to show you if you're off, if you're aligned or you're not aligned. Yeah. So this is the slippery fish. So maybe you got a slippery fish in your life. Somebody that's not giving you the straight answer. You ask them a direct question and they're beating around the bush, distracting you left and right. They're hiding something, right? That's the kind of mind that hides. And maybe your mind is doing the same thing, right? By justifying. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of the video, the easy way for the projector is like, I'm so confused with this person. Right? I'm confused with this person. Sometimes I'm feeling like, It's, it's not that bad, right? That's a slippery fish. I remember the good old days when we got along, right? And then you're feeling like, I feel exhausted after I leave them, and we're just, I'm fighting. I want them to see me. They don't see me. They don't recognize me. They don't value me. That's the slippery fish mind, right? Especially when you're going back and forth. And that's this Two of Pentacles energy, right? That correlates to the new moon. So what you do is you ask yourself the question, is this person, whoever it is, because it's going to be a relationship, it could be a client, it could be, your marriage partner, it could be just the other, right? You ask the question, and it's got to be a yes or no question. Is this person, do I need to persevere with this person, meaning I need to stick it through and move through this block in our relationship? Or is it this a guardrail and I need to let them go? And then immediately within half a second, not even half a second, your yes or no will come. And that's your intuition. Because we've got the 38.1. This gives you psychic abilities, right? So you have this access for this new moon. Because you want to get ready for 2025, and you don't want to be dragging in the wrong people, because you are going to pay the price as a projector in terms of your energy, because you take every person really, really deeply, right? You focus on absorbing aura. Okay, projectors, so discerning, and you'll know who this person is, and maybe it's a couple people that you've been, but you got your slippery fish mind, like, they're not so bad. They were good this time, right? Just go to your body even. Like, how does your body feel around them? Your body will show you if you feel contracted, or I feel like, I feel like my self-esteem plummets around them. It's all bad signs, right? All bad signs. And that's when you want to ask the question, do I need to stand up to this person? Do I need to persevere? Or do I need to throw them back in the ocean, right? Okay. So let's go to the manifestors. Okay. Let's go for the manifestors. Right there. So manifestors, we're talking about this new moon in the gate of the fighter. And we're looking at an ego card. So you're going to look at the question on the table here. Is this thing, and we're going to see what this thing is soon, a block, which I need to persevere, or is it a guardrail and I need to let it go? So be sure to watch your astrology, sun, moon, or rising part. And then the beginning, too, to learn more. Especially around cold depression. That's what's going on right now. Spiritually. Okay, what does the manifestor need to know? What does the manifestor need to know? Okay. Oh. Well, this is the cold depression card. Nihilism. So this is basically, right, you've got the 38 activating the new moon, and the programming partner of the 38 is the 39. And the reason why that's so is because it's the opposite. This is the mandala, right? So there's the 38 in Capricorn, and you go down to the opposite side, and that's 39 in Cancer. So they're opposites, but they work together. These two. So this is the spiritual warrior. So this is like losing your fight. This is like life is meaningless. That's the 28, right? Because this gives you more information about the 38, because it's the channel of struggle. And then this is the channel of emoting, right? So this is like there's no meaning, there's no purpose, right? And then manifestors, this is like, life is empty, right? Life is empty. Life is empty, no spirit, no abundance, no mojo for the manifestors. Okay. So this is cold depression, which I just talked about. So on the gray period of the planet that we're in right now, we're going through a huge transition, a great transition on the planet. Our species is evolving. The frequency is raising on the planet. We're going through the shift of the ages, right? And there's this called death drive that's happening, right? So we want to look at the lower death drive, which is depression. So this is cold depression. It's called cold depression. So this is where the ancients told us that most people would not realize they were depressed on the planet because the ego is being pressurized right now through these times. It's being pressured to surrender to the soul. So the ego lashes out. So the nihilism card is cold depression. It's cold depression. The ego is lashing out. So it either can lash out in anger, right? Or it can lash out in anger repressed, which is depression. So it's just, what I say is just it's just a period on our planet as we move into the new earth, right? This new cycle, that you're just in this gray period. So I would tell you not to identify. Don't identify with this state that you're in. It's part of our human process, right? For everyone, not just manifestors, but you're feeling it. That's what this is saying. And then let's see what house for the manifestors. Third house. So you got third house. So this is about communication. So it could be happening around your siblings. Yeah. It may be shutting you down in terms of your communication because it's third house. So this would be in terms of the manifestors. It could be not communicating, maybe isolating more than usual right here, and just not communicating. So this would be in terms of the 38. The 38 is about the fighter, right? So maybe you're going belly up and you're not communicating, right? You're not fighting for your integrity. So manifestors, this is about this is fighting for your individuality, your authenticity. So this is like you're being challenged with something and you're like, you're listening to the ego that's like, why bother? Why bother with this? Doesn't matter. It's meaningless, right? And then this blocks your fifth chakra, right? And so you're not standing up for yourself. And when you start making choices like this, one choice leads to a next. The other choice leads to a next. And then you start to spiral in vibration, right? And then you end up in this place, nihilism, right? It just doesn't happen overnight. So you need to remember that you're responsible for your frequency and your consciousness, manifestors. And all it takes is, I'm going to persevere. No, I don't. I'm not going to go along with this. I'm going to communicate my authenticity. I'm going to communicate what's deep inside me and wants to be expressed, right? So what you do, like I said at the beginning of the video, is you ask yourself a yes or no question. It can be really, really simple in the moment. It's like, is this a block that I need to persevere? Do I need to say something? Do I need to communicate something? Or is this like not my battle? Right? And it's a guardrail and I just let it go, right? So then you'll get the yes or no answer really, really quickly. You won't have to think. It will just be there, and that's your intuition, because the 38.1 gives you psychic abilities, right? Yeah. And then you fight. So as soon as you start making these little choices, and they seem so simple, well, how's that going to get me out of this funk I've been in? Well, it's one baby choice at a time. I'm choosing to be my authentic self. One choice at a time, and then it builds a momentum. And then you get stronger and stronger. The 38 wants you to persevere, right? It's testing your character so that you can get stronger and stronger within your authenticity, right? And that's where your power is. That's where your power is. So I would look at siblings too, communication in your siblings, brother and sister, where you have to stand up for yourself, right? Okay. And let's go for the reflectors. Okay. And please let me know if you're a reflector. They're such rare birds, those reflectors. So reflectors, we're talking about the new moon activating the 38 right here in the first line. It's the gate of the fighter. It's the gate of the fighter. So let's see what the cards have to say about the reflectors. Where do they need to fight? Where do they need to grab a spine, those reflectors? Or where do they need to let go? Okay. What do our reflector friends need to know? Where do our reflector friends need to know? Wow, it's so dark. There we go. Here we go. Oh. So the reflector's got the give up. It's hopeless. In the fourth house, we got stuff around emotions. Okay, so the reflector, give up, it's hopeless. Well, this is the gray period that I'm talking about. So watch the beginning of the video where I talk about this cold depression. This is cold depression because the ego is being pressurized to surrender to the soul and it's acting out, right? And this is like everything is hopeless because we have to change our ways, don't we, reflectors? Reflectors know this. So this is called cold depression, and I have a meditation. So just go down to my info box and then click the link, and then you'll go to my website, and it's all free. And then practice this. And this is specifically for this time, for the gray period, right? And what's the magic word here is perseverance. So you're listening to that crazy ego telling you that there's no hope, right? There's no hope. Why bother? Don't fight. It's too big, I'm too little, whatever trip it's telling you, right? So this is like, no, you need to persevere. This is saying very clearly you need to persevere in something in your life, right? And are you fighting for the wrong things and the wrong people? And where do you need to take a stand in your life? So fourth house says it's either with your mother or your home life, right? But your emotions are telling you in the fourth house that something's off. And the hopeless could be the cold depression. So if you relate to this depression, then practice that meditation, right? And this is like the block or the guardrail. So something in your life is a block and you need to persevere. And remember, there's a sutra. There's a way through every block, right? There's a way through every block. And then, do I need to persevere or do I need to admit defeat? Right? So you don't want to be listening to this ego that it's hopeless. Because really, when the ego starts bringing this out, it's hopeless, that means you're close to victory. You're close to victory. Okay. Anything else? No. Okay. So just a reminder that the webinars tomorrow, we're going to be doing some meditations too. It's not just about a bunch of information, but it's specific to human design. So it's going to give you the themes, right, of next year, the themes. And I'll talk about the 2024 themes too. Kind of anchor it in with what we've seen out in the world. And then, yeah, and remember I'm 3 parts right, so I can never write what I'm good, like it's in the present moment. That's when the magic really happens for me. And the same with these webinar series. I mean, I'm prepared as much as I can, but then the present moment is where all the action and the juice comes forward. So if you're interested in that, you don't have to attend live. I'll send you the recording afterwards, but it would be great if you were there live. And I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so everybody have a great day. Have a great winter solstice, and I will talk to you soon. And remember, you can follow me on Instagram, Telegram, which I love, and then the YouTube community page where I post daily. Okay, take care, everybody. Satnam Aloha. Bye-bye.